Nemesis at Alton Towers is without doubt the best roller coaster in the UK. Actually, one of the best roller coasters in the whole world. Many B&M inverted coasters exist around the world, so what makes this one special? Welcome back to Expedition Weekly.
This is all part of Britain's most magical experience. Alton Towers. And now, from the park that brought you, Katanga Canyon, the runaway mine train, and the haunted house. Comes the ultimate thrill ride sensation. A sensation to take you to the edge of your seat and the limit of your senses.
Most roller coasters around the world follow the rule that taller is better, but one of the UK's most popular parks were forced to become more creative with its roller coaster offerings, and not by choice. During the mid-90s, Alton Towers' planning permission at the park was restricted to tree height. At the time, the only ride in the Thunder Valley section of the park, opening in 1990, was Thunder Looper, and it was the tallest ride at Alton Towers, at 140 feet. The third home for the Schwarzkopf Shuttle Loop coaster, which originated at King's Dominion in 1976 as King Cobra.
The steel coaster I personally find the most wonderfully terrifying is what is known as the shuttle loop, such as the King Cobra of King's Dominion in Virginia. You see, it's one thing to go forward through a vertical loop, but then to travel up a dead-end track, stop, and fall through the same loop backwards. That's fun.
Located within the park on temporary planning permission, which had to be renewed each year, the ride gathered constant complaints from locals to the park for the noise it made. With the Beast, and again 2 years later with Something Special. When Alton Towers plans and designs the largest developments of the park, they are given the planning code name of Secret Weapon, and the first of these, Secret Weapon 1, began discussion as the replacement for Thunder Looper. Work had already begun on blasting out a pit in the area for the new ride before planning had even occurred for what it would be. Many of these rocks removed were actually used to theme Katanga Canyon close by. The first secret weapon was drawn up for an Arrow pipeline coaster, themed around a secret military facility, hence the name Secret Weapon.
In the shadow of Utah's Wasatch Mountains, a strange new shape rises from the mud. It's a radical new creation called the Pipeline. Built of fiberglass and steel, it's a multi-million-dollar thrill machine.
The ride was only planned to be 980 feet long due to the strict planning restrictions placed on the park, and due to financial issues Aerodynamic were experiencing at the time and the technical issues with the planning of the ride, it was placed on hold. 1 year later, the project was revived, this time under the codename Secret Weapon 2. Further rock blasting occurred for the project, but after designer John Wardley rode the prototype of the ride out in Utah, the project was abandoned as he described it as slow and boring, and without being able to build a lift hill high enough, the ride just wouldn't work at Alton Towers.
Batman the comic book hero has inspired Batman the Ride. It's the world's only suspended outside looping thrill ride.
In 1992 though, B&M had opened their first inverted roller coaster at Six Flags Great America, Batman the Ride.
My basic objective is to give people fun. And there are lots of people that knock that, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with a bit of good, simple fun. And those people that set out to build the highest, the longest, the fastest, or whatever, end up probably with a very dull ride. And of course, next year, someone comes along and tops them.
John Wardley had been in discussions with the head of engineering at Six Flags to learn more about the ride, and after experiencing it, he wanted to bring a similar concept to Alton Towers. After learning though that the lift hill would have to be higher than tree level, instead of going up, Alton Towers would go down.
Right, starts there and goes up in that direction, right up to the treetops, turns, comes down here, does an upside down corkscrew, under the monorail there, back down through that hole, and up over the top of the station where it does a zero-G roll and turns upside down.
Design for the ride began in 1992, and John wanted to create a layout which was thrilling, exciting to look at, but also stayed within planning permission guidelines. To do this, he figured out where the highest tree was located in the area and marked that as the point of the top of the lift hill and worked backwards from there. Also, instead of building the station at the bottom of the pit, it would be located halfway up so the ride could end and keep its intensity throughout rather than just ending at its lowest point of the area, going back into the station. Not one foundation of the ride is located on the same level. It will be Europe's first inverted coaster, the second to be built in the world, and it will be located in a large purpose-dug crater so it would not reach above tree level. Costing £10 million and featuring 4 inversions, the ride would be uniquely low to the ground, with a maximum height of 42 feet, but with a drop of 104 feet. Reaching a top speed of 50 miles per hour, the ride would be truly unique, and over a bottle of Southern Comfort, the name Nemesis was chosen.
Nemesis, the awesome new ride at Alton Towers. Sit back, it's fright time.
The backstory for the ride was created by Wardley and Nick Varney, then the marketing director of Alton Towers.
I will make no bones about it. I see Nemesis as the Jurassic Park of 1994, and I've got £5 million that is going to make sure that nobody can move or hear anything without finding out about Nemesis.
While the same ride could be purchased around the world, Alton Towers would aim to create a theme that could not be copied, and a backstory that while the guests could understand, they wouldn't be able to understand fully. Nemesis had came from a different dimension beyond imagination. Beneath the ground at Alton Towers it lurked for over 2 million years. The land had become a place of worship due to the rumblings underground. Small areas of grass had died and liquid had oozed out to the surface and hardened over the years.
It started as a routine excavation, but what was discovered was far from routine.
It was found on site by one of the workers. We thought it might mean something.
Yes, it does. It's a warning.
During excavation of the area by the Ministry of Defense in the newly renamed Forbidden Valley, the creature was disturbed. Angry at being discovered, Nemesis caused havoc and ripped up the trees and buildings around the area. The monster had to be controlled, and 250 tons of steel and 200 men pinned down Nemesis. The steel itself holding down the monster was twisted and bent into unusual shapes, and that steel is what you ride today when taking a ride. To coincide with the backstory, a comic was created and sold in the park when the ride opened, going further into the details of the origins of Nemesis. The other version of the story people do say is that the track is actually the tentacles of the monster itself you are riding.
And what would happen when the creature appeared?
It would feed.
Nemesis opened on the 19th of March 1994, the same year as Blackpool Pleasure Beach had added its biggest ride yet, the Pepsi Max Big One. The 2,350 feet of twisted track took riders on one of the most intense roller coasters ever created, and it was met with overwhelmingly positive reviews on opening and even to this day. The intensity of the ride holds up from the moment you reach the top of the lift hill until you return back to the station, and the roar as it flies by is one of the most iconic sounds at Alton Towers. In 2003, a second B&M inverted roller coaster opened at Fort Park, again designed by John Wardley and would use the Nemesis branding called Nemesis Inferno. Both parks owned by Two Swords at the time, the newer ride featured no backstory relating to the original ride other than the use of that name Nemesis to promote it. Nemesis Inferno is mostly seen as not as good in every way as the original. The Nemesis story was also used as the basis for the short-lived Nemesis Subterra right next door. The Thunder Looper was removed from Forbidden Valley in 1996, but the impact of adding Nemesis changed the future of Alton Towers, and is a roller coaster that has not been bettered since. Secret weapon codenames would continue to be used throughout the years for the park's major additions, and while the Blood Red River may have faded slightly over the years, Nemesis remains today as the best roller coaster in the UK, offering the same intensity, theming, and experience as it did when it opened back in 1994.
Now you can see why Alton Towers is Britain's most magical experience.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Expedition Weekly. What do you think the best roller coaster in the UK is? Let me know in the comments below, and we will see you next time.